Okay, so worms are in. The restart of the Blackworm trial is underway. It's the one with the stones to see if they step quickly. But before I get into the stones in each of the cultures, I want to get into what exactly is the mole. Why did it not work, but it worked before? And what is in it? We tend to call all muck at the bottom of our tanks mole, but that's not the case. So listen to this explainer and hopefully you'll understand a little more.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a fascinating, largely hidden world operating right at the bottom of aquatic ecosystems. Whether you're managing an aquarium, an aquaculture farm, or just checking out a natural pond, there is an invisible engine running the show, and we're going to uncover exactly how it works. You know that muck settling at the bottom? We usually just look at that aquatic debris and see dirt. We tend to think of it as a total nuisance, right? Just something that needs to be siphoned away or aggressively cleaned out so we can have perfect water quality. But today, we are going to bust that myth wide open. By the end of this explainer, you're going to see that muck in a completely different, living light. Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to hit 1. The myth of dead detritus. 2. What is MALM exactly? 3. The microbial loop engine. 4. Raw detritus versus mature MALM. 5. The ultimate biological filter. And finally 6. Fostering a living ecosystem. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The myth of dead detritus. Let's start right at the beginning with what we traditionally think of as just waste building up in a tank or a pond.
In the science world, this dead, decaying stuff is called detritus. And here's the kicker. On its own, raw detritus is basically empty calories for aquatic life. It's highly refractory, meaning it's super stubborn and resists breaking down. And while it is really rich in carbon, it's incredibly depleted in the essential micronutrients like amino acids and polyunsaturated fatty acids that your macroorganisms actually need to survive and grow. Simply put, it's completely nutrient poor and practically impossible to live on.
Which brings us to Section 2. What is MALM exactly? Because if raw detritus is just dead, nutritionally deficient organic matter, then what on earth is that thick, darker layer that naturally forms at the bottom of a healthy, mature tank?
Get ready for a major paradigm shift. MALM, or biofloc as it's sometimes called in aquaculture, isn't dead waste at all. No way. It's actually a dense, self-stabilizing living conglomeration. It's made up of heterotrophic bacteria, algae, protozoa, fungi, and microfauna, and they're all bound together with that detritus in a sticky matrix. It's a thriving, living micro-ecosystem operating directly on top of the substrate. It's like a bustling microscopic city.
Moving on to Section 3, the microbial loop engine. We know this stuff is alive, but how does it actually process that dead organic matter and turn it into life? It all comes down to a really cool process called trophic upgrading. Think of it like this. Bacteria and fungi move in and colonize that raw, nutrient-poor detritus. As they munch on it, they multiply. Then your detritivores, like aquatic worms, shrimp, or zooplankton, come along and eat the detritus. But here's the secret. They aren't actually looking for the dead matter. They are targeting that rich, attached microbial community. The microbes essentially act as a highly nutritious, protein-packed food source. The detritus was literally just the plate the meal was served on. This microbial loop is what sustains organism regeneration and growth. Section 4. Raw detritus versus mature MALM. Grasping the stark difference between these two is absolutely crucial for aquatic stability.
Here's the deal. Raw detritus, it causes massive imbalances. If you just dump heavy, fast-decaying organic matter into a system, you're going to get rapid microbial blooms, dangerous ammonia spikes, and a huge drop in oxygen that can literally crash your whole tank. Mature MALM, on the other hand, is already populated with high microbial biomass. It acts as a super stable, slow-release mechanism. It provides continuous feeding for the ecosystem without those chaotic chemical spikes. It's the difference between a massive sugar crash and a perfectly balanced, slow-digesting meal.
Cultured blackworms are actually a perfect example of this in action. They have 2 different ways they feed. If you use direct feeding, adding high-protein pellets or organic matter straight to the worms, you get fast energy, sure, but you risk totally overwhelming the system with raw detritus, leading to toxic imbalances. But if you lean into microbial feeding, you add organic specifically to feed the microbes in the MALM. The MALM then feeds the worms continuously. By relying on the system that processes the food, rather than forcing the target animals to eat raw inputs, you build incredible long-term stability. It's a total game changer.
All right, Section 5, the ultimate biological filter. Because Mohm does so much more than just serve as a nutrient-dense buffet. It operates as a full-on, active wastewater treatment facility right at the bottom of your water column.
I mean, just look at the incredible biodiversity happening here. A mature layer of Mohm contains heterotrophic bacteria that aggressively digest waste. You've got nitrogen cycling archaea handling the ammonia. Deep inside the flock where the oxygen drops, it even houses denitrifying bacteria that permanently remove nitrogen from the system entirely. Throw in some aquatic fungi breaking down tough plant matter, and protozoa grazing on the bacteria to keep their numbers in check. It's the whole shebang. They're working in perfect synergy to digest waste, cycle nutrients, and permanently buffer against chemical spikes.
This takes what we typically think of as biological filtration, like a standard sponge filter, and just blows it out of the water. Traditional filtration primarily processes toxic ammonia into less toxic nitrate just to maintain water quality. But a mature Mohm or biofloc system goes a massive step further. It actively recycles those nutrients into harvestable microbial biomass. Your biological filter isn't just cleaning the water, it is literally manufacturing food from waste 24/7.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 6, fostering a living ecosystem. So all this science is amazing, but how do we actually cultivate and protect this biological engine in the real world? Well, you need a diverse cleanup crew. This brings in the concept of bioturbation, which is basically the biological reworking of sediments by animals. By adding supporting organisms like snails, detritivorous shrimp, and isopods, you create a continuous physical processing cycle. They fragment the larger debris, something called microbial gardening, which opens up more surface area for the bacteria to colonize. They're constantly stirring the system, keeping oxygen flowing and generating that rich Mohm. Fun fact, in the wild, even massive animals like walruses perform this exact same bioturbation function in the Bering Sea. They dig into the sediment, releasing nutrients and oxygenating the ocean floor. It's the exact same concept, just on a slightly bigger scale. Now, because this biological matrix is so complex, it does take time to develop. This is exactly why you never ever want to start an environment completely sterile. If you're setting up a new tank or culture, the absolute best thing you can do is transfer a scoop of Mohm from a healthy, established system. That instantly inoculates your new setup with the thousands of species of bacteria, fungi, and microfauna we've been talking about, jumpstarting that critical biology right from day one. I really want to highlight this quote from the source material because it hits the nail right on the head. We need to realize we are managing an aquatic compost ecosystem that happens to produce blackworms. That profound little insight beautifully sums up the shift in perspective we're talking about today. Whether you're keeping fish, raising shrimp, or culturing worms, true, long-lasting success comes from managing that compost ecosystem, the Mohm, first. When you start looking at an aquatic setup through this lens, the macroorganisms you are trying to support are really just the wonderful byproduct of a healthy, living microbial filter. Basically, if you feed and protect the microbiology is going to feed and protect your animals. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder. If we've been looking at the dirt at the bottom of our tanks and ponds as just waste, when in reality it's the complex, living engine driving the entire ecosystem, how might this completely change the way we manage every aquatic environment on Earth? From our little living room aquariums, all the way up to massive commercial aquaculture facilities, embracing the secret life of Mohm might just be the key to truly sustainable, thriving aquatic life. Thanks for hanging out with me on this deep dive into the invisible ecosystems operating right under our noses. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.
I hope that helped you understand a little bit more about
Well-
what exactly Mohm is and why it's so important to our blackworm culture. It's not just important, it's the heart of the culture.